Good morning and a big welcome to This Morning on ITV as we bring you the spotlight on what is happening across Nigeria and of course all that we need to do in respect of making sure we have a viral government that will help to bring about the dividends of democracy. Well, some will say we can't say democracy has dividends when we talk about what happens in the country, of course, even in the continent. But we can always say, well, dividends of good governance. All right, so you agree with me that a lot happens to economy in a positive direction if there is a way a country or a polity can tackle successfully, the insecurity issues that bedevils it. Nigeria has been facing that challenge, and from one administration to another, there has been promises, made in that direction. And of course, even while the president came on board, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he also made promises in that direction. And we've been having these challenges, where even a few days back, we lost a brigadier general in the person of Brigadier General Brahma Seni, who was the commanding officer of the 29th Task Force Brigade. And just recently again after that, we also got some news about another colonel and 6 others that also were feared killed as a result of encountering an improvised explosive device. Well, we can only say this is an opportunity for issues of this aspect of tackling insecurity, should be brought to the front burner of the government. If it has not gotten the attention yet, it should be number one. And of course, most especially when those who are on the front line, tackling the insurgents, are still in the process of being feared killed. Well, I'm not alone on this, as we also see reports where the federal government released 48 terror sponsors' names just a few days ago. And of course, that again is another issue that is really raising thoughts in Nigeria. Good morning, Anolu Stevens. You look bright this morning.
Good morning, Philip Omorogipo. You look great as always.
Most especially the blend of what you put it on.
Tell me about it.
A beautiful taste.
Really?
To fashion.
You had to bring their hair. But anyway, just as you said, the insecurity situation bedeviling the nation is a conversation that has come to stay. I did state it yesterday. It seems like every single time we come on this table, we're always talking about something as regards insecurity and related to insecurity. So the federal government, through the Nigerian Sanctions Committee, published a list of 48 individuals and entities linked to terrorism financing. Now, this list includes persons allegedly, in quotes, connected to groups like IPOB, ISWAP or ISWAP and Boko Haram networks. And it was released amid ongoing mass trials of terrorism suspects in Abuja. Just yesterday, we also had it on the news that the United States of America was commending the federal government for having the mass trials of suspects, of terrorism suspects in Nigeria going on, and that was like a thumbs up. But this conversation has actually sparked a lot of reactions, especially from Nigerians online and offline, because it's one thing for you to say you've listed out these persons. It's another thing for you to bring them to book and ensure that justice is actually being served and, the right things are actually being done and they are actually, they face trials and all of that. Let's not forget, it should also not be new, because we've had a conversation where a particular person from the north, one of the great activists who always have been out there saying that the federal government should be in talks with these terrorism guys, in the person of Sheikh Gumi. He said that the federal government are aware of those people, they know where they stay, and we are beginning to see that there's a bit of truth in what he said. So it's not enough to call out them and name names. Let's see that they are being, brought to book. I saw on the list we had the likes of Simon Ekpa, we had this offline, and also the indigenous people of Biafra, the prescribed leader, was also listed as well. But moving forward, we need to see actions being done. And just to land on this, yesterday, Peter Obi was on a sister station, and when he was talking about the death of the late late Brigadier General Brahima Hussaini, and he said that in an ideal setting, when things like this happen, when you lose Brigadier General, because this is not the first time, the military or whoever is in charge will declare a war. But it seems that we're just taking it with gloves, hands, and everybody's just acting normal. Nowadays, the security situation in the country is now becoming a norm where you and I hear, oh, 15 persons were killed and we're not even moved. It's now affecting our empathy, and it's really sad what it's doing to us mentally as a nation and also as a people.
Most especially when we keep talking about this and something never happens in the positive direction. We always look at the need for the federal government to, stop paying lip services. Some call it hypocritical issues that the federal government should do away with, most especially when it is upon us that if we don't tackle this, it's going to go over us and overwhelm us. We don't want to get to that extent where we start seeing issues, people start running, scampering to safety, just because of all of this.
Well, it's already happening indirectly.
It has not engulfed. It has not engulfed the
town.
Entire states,
right.
Most especially, But we mustn't wait until it gets down there. Most especially when also we talk about the need for us to, take the security, issues a little bit higher. Most especially where some have said that it's not just enough, like you said, it's not just enough for you to name, terror sponsors, but find a way to, get into the issues of the whole matter so that all of these issues of insecurity can be tackled. Again, we look at the need for us to see how that can be done in a safe way, because if you want to say, you want to name sponsors of terror activities, you also have issues of litigations, most especially when if you have to prosecute, questions will be asked. Don't you need to, first of all, make these investigations and then make them get into prosecutions before you list their names? Now, in the process of mentioning these names, we have issues about going against their rights. Some have said that.
Because it's going to affect them, their financial, whatever can be trapped.
Yeah, their accounts have already been frozen.
Travel restrictions and the like. So it's not enough. Another school of thought actually would want to believe that this is just mere propaganda, so that the Nigerian citizen will say that, oh, the federal government is indeed working. But we do not want just conversation. As the Gen Z will say, we need action moving forward. Just to also something, yesterday, Senator Ali Undume was also on a sister station where the senator representing Borno, and where he talked about insecurity situation with what is going on in Borno State. There have been a lot of talks and stakeholder meetings, and he said something critical, that what we need in Nigeria is we need arms, we need ammunition, we need sophisticated weapons to ensure that we fight this thing up until the later, because it's not enough to just talk about it. The president will show Nigerians every single time when we do not see the necessary action being put in place. How about you equip these guys, you give them the right welfare, so that what happened to the late Brigadier General Hussaini would not repeat itself again, because according to what someone said, this is one too many, and within the space of 6 months we've lost 2 Brigadier General. I don't think we really know what it means to become a Brigadier General in the force. It's a big thing, and just allowing our men go like that, and then we see that couple of days we had it in the news that the operatives of the army went to the Edo State government to plead and beg that our citizens, our youth, join the army. And also, a couple of days ago, the Delta State governor was saying the same thing. Why? Persons no longer want to get their children or get themselves involved in the security architecture in the country. And then you hear conversation as, how about you as a governor, you send your child there to go fight for the country? Now, this is where we are.
Exactly. Even especially when just some weeks back, when the U.S. government, came in and found a way to, tackle this to an extent. Some are asking, what is the government doing about it in terms of the continuous collaboration? Is it that the government can handle it itself? Should we continue to cry out to international organizations and, of course, foreign bodies to help come to our rescue? But again, we seem to politicize all of this. If we can really sit down and tackle all of these issues. Some have said that it's going to take less than 48 hours to tackle this. We know where they are. Information, intelligence gathering is already there. that can help fish out where these terrorists are, just as we already have the names. So there should be another step forward by the government. I think this is a clear call. It's a call to action for the government to really stop playing, lip services with all of this. We will be joining our Abuja studio, where Anchor from Abuja studio is standing by. Good morning to you, Dominic Eyemese.
Good morning, Philip, and good morning, Alu. Of course, it is a Tuesday. The program this morning on Night TV. It's a delight to be with you. Quite interesting opening the issue becoming a daily routine. When I mean daily routine, each day you turn to the media, anywhere you go, you hear persons killed and maimed by insurgents. These guys who we refer to as insurgents are becoming too popular than even our own politicians, if I have to put it that way, because each day they make the news. Every day they make the news. It's quite pathetic. It seems there is no political will from the side of the government in tackling this issue. It's quite unfortunate. Just like Anu said, in less than 6 months we've had 2 generals in the army. The general is the first or one-star general when you start counting the hierarchy of those who are referred to as generals in the army. So it goes to tell you how much input to or an officer to the level of a general is a shame for a country like Nigeria. Like I said, the last time we were on air, when the U.S. invaded the ongoing war in Iran, there was a plane crash where its troop, one of its troops fell into the hands of the enemy, but they were able to rescue that man or rescue that pilot in 48 hours. But that's not.
We sincerely apologize for the poor internet connectivity from our Abuja studios. Well, let's get to you, Patricia Gabriel. Good morning. Good morning, Patricia.
I think, good morning, if you can hear me. We're talking about insecurity this morning, and it is on a sad note, when you have generals in the army being killed and nothing is being done. It seems to us that the government of today does not care about the lives of the people, because just and very recent, in a few days
Well, I sincerely apologize for that once again. It's always an issue that we talk about when it comes to tackling insecurity. And we always want to hope that one day we'll wake up and we'll talk about, the beautiful side of it where we are having victories, massive victories in tackling all of these headlong. But we just hope that one day it's going to pop up. We're going to be taking a short break, after which we're going to be looking at the pages of the newspaper this day.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
Yeah, a big one there on the papers. We have it on the Guardian newspaper, where the headline says, on insecurity, federal government under pressure over fresh attacks on troops. Airstrike fallout. You get that on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Anxiety over opposition's future as ADC PDP await Supreme Court ruling. You get that also on news page 6. Nigeria misses $3.3 billion oil windfall as $25 billion Nigeria-Morocco pipeline progresses. You get that on page 3. And 12 years after, Chibok parents demand global action as 87 girls remain missing. Too sad. And that's it on the Guardian newspaper.
Away from the Guardian newspaper, let's turn our attention now to the Daily Trust newspaper with the big headline today that says, against odds, ADC holds convention happening today in Abuja. Well, away from that, tariff cuts on vehicles rise could weaken local production, experts warns. Court to rule on Arafai's bill application today. You get that story on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And interestingly, Daily Trust apologizes over wrong use of pictures. Okay, really great. Taking accountability for reaction. That is quite good. While other interesting headlines this morning on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, it says, again, commander soldiers killed in a Boko Haram ambush on page 5. And that's all the Daily Trust have in stock for us this morning.
And of course, still we go to the Vanguard newspaper, where still talking about the issues of insecurity, where terrorists killed Colonel and 6 soldiers during a raid on military base in Borno. And of course, that's a big challenge, where also how federal government is responding to economic shock. Edun has that to say on the Middle East war. And of course, this says policy missteps in trade systems may hurt consumers. Experts have that to say. Say Naira stability comes at heavy cost as FX reserves decline. And that's it on the Vanguard.
Away from the Vanguard newspaper, the New Telegraph is up next. Leading with insecurity, it says, terrorists kill Colonel, 6 others during raid on military base in Borno State. Same state again. Really sad. Well, subwriter says, Mopol, 13 others killed in Benue attacks. Tinubu meets service chiefs as representatives hold security summit in Plateau today. Well, yesterday we heard in the news that there was a meeting, an indoor meeting with the service chiefs with our president. Well, still on the New Telegraph newspaper, Senator Lawan calls for independent, transparent probe of Yobe tragedy. SEC freezes accounts linked to terror financing allegations. Okay, on page 2, 3, 6, 25, 29, and 30, you get details of that story. Shatima demands new framework for youth leadership development on page 3. Economic crisis, stop looking for scapegoat. Take responsibility. Obi tells Tinubu on page 5. NNPP faction insists on recognition, writes INEC on page 4. ICPC court adjourns Arafai's bill hearing till today. Well, we're looking forward to the outcome of that hearing. I didn't deny ADC use of Eagle Square. Who was speaking? Wiki. as ADC representatives demand Amopiton's sack. Persecution says democracy in danger. Over 2,500 delegates arrive Abuja for convention, which is taking place today amid the hustle and bustle that went on with them getting a venue for the convention. Now, finally, Middle East crisis, Strait of Hormuz blockade against global interest. China speaking, urges restraint. I am not a politician. I have no fear of Trump administration. Who is speaking? The Pope. U.S. judge dismisses $10 billion Trump defamation suit against WSJ. And finally, it says that taking too much vitamin D can backfire, scientist says in a report. Well, that's all on the New Telegraph this morning.
Yeah, when we have a headline covering the pages of the newspapers, it shows that it becomes a sorrowful song if it's on a bad taste, and that's where we have insecurity here. So it's outrage over murder. As we look at Daily Sun, outrage over murder of Colonel and 6 soldiers in fresh terrorist raid on Daily Sun. Outrage over murder of Colonel and 6 soldiers in fresh terrorist raid. And again, Wike, I never denied ADC orders use of Eagle Square. Wike has that to say. And of course, let's look at this where it says, I will soon decide on Abia Guba contest, says Reps Deputy Speaker Kalu. IMF wants Nigeria orders against policy missteps. Sharia Council insists on resignation of INEC chairman. And of course, Undume cries out over escalating insecurity in Borno. There's much we can take on the pages of the newspaper. Do well to go get them and internalize. We'll take a short break, and after that, we'll be taking our first segment of the conversation from the Benin studio, where we'll be looking at some dilapidated, infrastructures. Of course, the road project of Udo Ofunama and what is happening in the disrepair and what government should be doing. So it's an opportunity to put that on the spotlight and see what the government is spending her hard-earned, taxpayers' money and resources for. We'll take a short break and we'll dive into that. Do stay.
Onwa is rich in culture and traditions. The people are a mixture of traditional worshippers, Muslims and Christians. Onwa is located at the northern part of Edo State. It consists of 2 local government areas, that is Onwa West and Onwa East. It has a total number of 13 clans and 21 political wards, according to National Population Commission 2006 census. The population of Onwa people is put together at 251,686. The people love tradition and culture. Historically, the people ancestors in deep quest to hand down on their future children a society of love and friendship.
While they say the essence of government is to look into, you know, infrastructures, bring about developments across states and, of course, communities. But when we begin to see dilapidated roads, disrepair, and having an opposite of what it should be, then questions are being asked. What is the government doing? We understand the fact that there's been, you know, fuel subsidy removal, so the government won't basically have excuses to give for not seeing developments in each state. Well, we will be having this very, very important topic on abandoned Udo Ofunama Road project, addressing the challenges. And joining me to have this discussion, I have with me Ambassador Egelu Edise Amy Bright, Acting National Secretary, Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Nigeria.
All right, you are the Acting National Secretary of IYC Worldwide. Welcome.
As Assistant Secretary and Acting Secretary, IYC Worldwide.
Okay, welcome. Well, we have been having this issue concerning the Udo Ofunama Road project. What do you have to say about it?
The Udo Ofunama Road is a road that links several communities, including the Gbema Kingdom, the Olodema Kingdom, and even the Okomu Kingdom. And these are riverine communities. And that road is a symbolic road that we regard as a road of inclusion, because, you know, the Jaws are people that we are balkanized into different states, and we have been marginalized in some extent. So the road has been abandoned for a very long time now, for over 13 years. At least this year make it 14 years. That road was awarded by the NDDC. So, and there have been series of calls and even protests regarding that road. And I'm still joining my voice with my people to call on the relevant authorities to make sure the road is being completed.
When you say that your group has been marginalized, I don't get it, because even Nigerians entirely are being marginalized. And so
no.
Are you linking that to the road project? And if we look at it actually, can we say that there was a contract awarded on that road?
Yes, there was a contract awarded by the NDDC.
Okay. What about mobilization on site?
Yes, there was mobilization on site after the awarding of the contract in April 20th, 2012. But the road is not even a long road. So just a 47-kilometer road that ordinarily is supposed to be done swiftly. But unfortunately, about 3 or 4 kilometers were completed while leaving the actual place that connects the riverine communities. And you can even see the pictures and videos of the road, how depleted it is. The communities, they depend on that road for survival. It's not just for transportation purpose, because of the locations we find ourselves. But with the look of things and the way the road is, it's uncalled for.
Okay, but we also have similar roads everywhere, and sometimes we want to wonder why government is, you know, taking time, most especially when contracts are being given. Sometimes it takes a long time for them to mobilize to site. But again, what has your group been doing in respect of the point where mobilization was on site? How have you interfaced with the people on site?
You know, Ijaw people, we are peace-loving people. We are violence-free, I must tell you. We accommodate. Even why workers were mobilized to site, there was no form of disagreement with them or try to disturb their work. But we encourage them, we embrace them.
Were they attacked?
Never attacked. They were never attacked. So they worked to an extent, they left. When they left, the riverine communities were short of words, knowing fully well, because initially they were happy that yes, contractor has come, therefore the road will be completed. But unfortunately, they left. So since from the moment they left, there has been agitations that this road should be completed. And calls have been going on, calling on the NDDC and the relevant authorities to please call them back to site.
Okay. You talked about the economic viability.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people, their livelihood depend on that. Can you spotlight what exactly this road could be disturbing in terms of your community?
Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, the road is not just a transportation route, but a mix of survivor for the riverine communities. You know, our communities are, well, let's say, politically, they are not being carried along. And I must tell you, there are no infrastructural developments in our riverine communities. Most of the things we find in our communities there are self-help.
You say there are no infrastructural development?
Yes.
You mean you can't even name one? Is that what you're talking about? You
No
have health centers?
no health centers.
Oh.
No health centers, no schools, no pipe-borne waters, and so on. The normal basic social amenities we are supposed to benefit from the government.
Do you vote
we are
in
not
elections?
getting it.
Do you
Yeah,
vote
we
in
do,
elections?
we do. And I can even still tell you, even common electricity we don't have. There is no electric post standing in our riverine communities. That's to tell you how bad it takes over there.
Okay, but you are an executive member,
Yeah.
and you've been in office for how many years?
For 2 years and 9 months plus.
Okay, and before that, you also had an ESCO that transmitted power to your present ESCO.
Sure.
What has been done in the previous years?
Okay.
In terms of engagement, because we understand that whenever it's election period, there's always an opportunity for some community leaders or associations to take what they see as stomach infrastructure. Shouldn't the focus be on getting the right persons in power? Have you engaged your people in this issue? Because it's one thing for us to say we have dilapidated roads. It's another for us to speak truth to power in terms of the fact that whatever we see today is as a result of what we failed to do yesterday.
Like I mentioned earlier, we job people. We always speak truth to power. We are known for our confidence globally. Because of the situation we found ourselves, especially the riverine communities, we are not after speaking, meeting politicians or during, because election is by the corner, to extort money and all of that. We always stand for the truth and speak truth to power. And the essence why I'm joining my voice with people today, not just people from my area who has been calling, because there have been agitations and leaders within our riverine communities. I am a national officer in the IYC, a national acting secretary. We have sub organizations in the community level, we have in the clan levels and the rest. From the community level, they have engaged. Even the clan chairman, our clan chairman in the Burma community has also been engaging, calling for the completion of the road. And we also have an Ugbo, a sub-organization at the kingdom level, which is the Burma kingdom. You know, the road is Udo Funama, a Burma road. Yeah. At the Burma level, they have also called, they have engaged severally to the extent that they even carry out a protest to Port Harcourt, as far as Port Harcourt, to NDDC headquarters, wherein they were called and a series of meetings took place, but it's being delayed.
Okay.
It's been delayed. The process has been delayed. So we are calling on the NDDC and other relevant authority to come to our aid and please complete the road.
Have you interfaced with the state government?
With the state government on this road?
Yeah.
We mainly focus on the NDDC because they were the one who awarded the contract.
Okay.
Yes, before it was abandoned.
All right. I want to really thank you for at least keeping the peace, because there's always need for us to check all of this. It's not at every time, people pour out in protest just because of one reason or the other. But if you look at the road project, that is supposed to be on that, it should have been massive.
Sure.
And sometimes we wonder what must have happened. So can you really pinpoint what year that contract was awarded?
Okay. The contract was awarded 20th of April 2022. 2022, yeah.
That's 4 years back.
2012, not 2022. 2012, yeah. That's 14 years back. 14 years back.
All right. So, how has life been for your community all this while? Do you have other roads you use?
Life has been extremely difficult.
Is that a major road?
That is a major road. It's a link road.
Or you have other routes you take?
The other routes that are available are the river routes, and it's costly. It's costly, and even because it's the only road connecting these communities, even why the road is not okay, they manage to pass through. But I could tell you they suffer in it.
What about the security of that road? Because whenever we have issues like this, there's always, it becomes a flashpoint.
Yeah, security-wise, like I mentioned earlier, the job people, they are loving people they are accommodating. So for security, there is no security threat in that area. So even while the road is very bad, there has never been a time we had robbery or other stuffs on the road.
Okay, because people have a way of securing themselves.
Yes, we have a way of securing ourselves.
All right, thank you very much, Ambassador Ighelu. Yeah. Ambassador Ighelu is the acting National Secretary, Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide. So what's your appeal? Because we understand that NDDC basically is supposed to mobilize that and finish the project. But the way it is now, it appears that the project has been abandoned completely.
Yeah, sure.
So what would you say is your plea to the state or federal government?
Yeah, my appeal to the NDDC and also to our sister, Honorable Barrister Omosede Egbelendion, who is in the 10th Assembly representing Ovia Southwest constituency. My appeal to them, because we want our voice to be amplified in such a way that the relevant authorities can hear us and come to our aid. My appeal is for them to mobilize to site as soon as possible, because the people are really, really suffering. I must tell you, our people are suffering. When it's raining, the road will just be muddy in a way that vehicles find it very difficult. Our people spend hours on that road to get to their destination. There is no way for them to transport foods, other agricultural products and other things.
But you have government schools in that area also.
The government schools, let me also bring your mind in. The government schools, like one of our communities, my community, Abera community, the government school there was built by us, which was self-sponsored. When I was the union president, National Union of Abera Students, when I was the president of the school, of the community association,
yeah,
together with some of my colleagues, my mates, we single-handedly, previous student before mine though, not mine particularly, we single-handedly donated to start to establish the secondary school.
You built a school and donated it to the government?
Yeah, we established the school at first. It was a private school. Later we handed the school to the government. Today it's a government school, but thank God recently teachers were even posted to the school. To tell you by the government, okay, of Edo State, okay, to tell you how we have strived within to make sure that at least we still survive to an extent. And because this road is also a barrier. It's the biggest barrier we have. The road is not just linking the states in Edo State, the villages in Edo State. You also link the other villages from the Delta, where I am from as well. The Delta communities in the Egbema Kingdom. So we all depend on that road. So my appeal is that government should please come to our aid and mobilize to site for the completion of the Odo Funama.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, for taking our time to be part of this. Ambassador Ighelu Edese Emi Bright. Big thanks for taking our time. We just hope that the government at all levels will be intervening into this issue so that we can have some respite at Odo Ofunama Road, most especially when the NDDC at the point, was given the contract. And how much was it awarded?
It was awarded at 6 billion as of that time.
Wow.
But unfortunately, from reports, from the NDDC reports available to me per se, that a section of that money was paid for mobilization, but later on, the money wasn't enough. I think that was the basic reason they returned. They never completed it.
All right, thank you. Well, you've heard that, and most especially where the government must be, brought into action to tackle that road on Odo Funama, and the communities basically need help in that direction, most especially. Well, this is much we can take on this segment. We're going to be taking a short break, after which we will be having another segment of conversation where we'll be looking at the strengthening of the opposition ahead of the 2027 general elections. To stay.
The land of Onwa is inhabited by the people with common ancestry, language, religion, economic and socio-political ties. However, irrespective of their subtitle differences in language and culture, they share common traditions. The people are known for their hospitality. Onwa traced their origin to Benin Kingdom. As a result, for a man to find a comfortable place for living, the name Onwa was derived from the largest and longest river in the area, which is known as Onwian or Onwa. It means one who makes merry in affluence.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Ugemobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
the need for us to have our elections competitive and where, you know, the opposition is seen as healthy, producing a healthy rivalry ahead of 2027 is what we're about today on Countdown to 2027 Strategy, Structure, and Survival of the Opposition. Well, joining me to discuss this via Zoom from Canada, I have with me Prince Harrison Ehimian, PhD, lecturer, Department of Political Science, University of Benin, and former Principal Private Secretary to the GMD NNPC, Honorable Minister, State Petroleum Resources, Nigeria. Prince Harrison Ehimian, welcome. Can you hear me, Prince Harrison?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and good morning from my end.
All right. Also joining me via Zoom, I have the person of Christopher Ojekere. Christopher Ojekere is the Edo State Media Coordinator, and he is joining me via Zoom from Abuja. Good morning, Chris.
Yeah, good morning, Philip. Edo State Publicity Secretary of the ADC.
Thank you for that, Christopher Ojekere. Let's start with you, Chris. There's been issues on the front burner over the opposition, and of course, your party, the ADC, has been in the eye of the storm, and of course, there has been various struggles. And I understand that you are already in Abuja also, you know, to tackle this issue. And where are you? Where do you see the opposition at present? Is it that their hope seems to be very, very thin ahead of 2027 for your party?
Well, I'm in Abuja to attend our national convention, which we'll be holding today at Area 11, where I am right now. That's why I'm in Abuja. The opposition in Nigeria have been sustained by the resilience and inexorable attitude of the ADC that has refused to go under, irrespective of what has been the barrage of affliction that has been visited upon it by the ruling party APC. APC's agenda, which has become obvious and audible even to the deaf and visible to the blind, has been how to emasculate, how to destroy the opposition, and then leave only a one-party state to contest the 2027 election. These, by art and design, and by default and by deliberate action, has been the activities and action of the APC 12th opposition party. They succeeded in decimating the PDP to the point right now where the PDP have become decimated to the point where they are unable to produce a candidate for 2027, and even Wike, who is the instrument of destruction, is posing to become the presidential candidate of the PDP just to ensure that they secure that ticket for themselves through a proxy. They moved into the Labour Party and did the same. And they have tried to do it in the ADC. But we have shown resilience, we have shown strategy and tactics. This convention we are holding this today, we started from our congresses in the wards, in the LGA up until this time, wouldn't be holding today if we submitted to the antics and deliberate manipulation of the interpretation of a court judgment, the appeal court judgment by Amu Peter, who unfortunately Nigerians now call amputee, whose matter, if it comes up here, we are going to have to show how his credibility and integrity have been turned to tatters. Somebody who is already denying his own identity, that has been carefully recorded over 2 decades online and on social media. We'll come to that. So all of these have been the activities, inimical activities against the ADC. But the ADC has shown strategy. So contrary to what you expect that we are chickening out, we are growing even stronger. Just to let you know that if you check your records. Between the day that Amupita made that wrong announcement and the morning of it the next day, 40,000 people registered online in the ADC. And from that day on, the floodgates of defectors have been flooding the ADC, especially in the north. So the ADC approach, which has been bottom up, going into the grassroots to ensure that while the ruling party was harvesting governors, generals without armies, we were harvesting their armies. And now we have all their armies who have all deserted their generals. And the ADC is swelling in grassroots growth, whereas they are thinning out there at the top of the pyramid. In fact, I won't be surprised when you see that those governors are now defecting back to the ADC. So we are upbeat, we are ready, we are happy, we've got our strategies mapped out, and we are doing business. So we are in the game for 2027.
Thank you, Chris. Well, let's get to you, Prince Harrison from Canada. Well, you have the grip of what is happening in Nigeria. And of course, it has been said that there seems to be some plans or activities going on there, in the APC to cripple opposition. I don't know what your thoughts are in this direction, in building a virile opposition ahead of 2027. Harrison.
Thank you very much, and good morning to our viewers and listeners across the globe. Yes, I've been abreast with situations in our country, and quite frankly, there is no nation that will strive under a one-party system. A very good democracy in any nation is anchored on the opportunity given to citizens to choose across party lines who governs them at every point in time. If we begin to run things in such a way that choices of citizens are stiffened and choices are limited just to one particular party, that obviously will not do us good. Where we are thinking towards is a situation where we are beginning to see authoritarianism. We are beginning to see people not given opportunity to decide who should govern them at a particular point in time. And if this continues, I am afraid that even the next generation will not be able to see a country again. But that having said, currently I know very well that the opposition, the ADC is presently putting forward seems to be very strong. They are waxing stronger on a daily basis in spite of adversity from the government of the day. But these are things that are not alien to Nigerian political system and observers, and those who are actually deep in the political system of Nigeria. These are recurring decimals. These are things that resurfaces each year in the political cycle. And it seems we are obviously not learning because years ago during the President Jonathan's time, all of these has also played out. And we are having a repeat of this. But I am glad to hear today that the ADC are still on with their convention and whatever it is that they need to do to strengthen democracy. Thus far, this seems to be the only, I know there are other oppositions also, but thus far it seems to be the only stronger opposition giving the present government a nightmare and running for the money. But I want to believe that at the end of the day, we should allow the judicial system to possibly decide, but we are also gradually losing hope, losing trust from that system also. But whether we like it or not, the system will definitely rely on a judicial declaration to ascertain the position legally if what we are currently hearing or seeing can stand the test of time. But should that end up being positive, I want to believe that Nigerians will have opportunity to choose between the current political system and within the ADC, another political party, whether LP or any other political party, who should govern them come 2027. My belief will strongly be that Nigeria should not disseminate into a one-party structure where democracy will completely die a natural death. That, I'm afraid, if we eventually get there. But I pray we don't get there at any time soon.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Prince Himeyan, on very, very important issues that we'll also discuss. But let's quickly get to you, Christopher. You made mention of the fact that the All Progressives Congress has been, strategizing to weaken opposition. But again, how do you test the capacity of oppositions? Most especially if we look at the personalities involved that came over to ADC. There has been this cross-carpeting, and you also left the PDP for the ADC. Do you see the genuine motive of the party or the opposition, coming out to really, rescue the country from bad governance, or is just a way of political survival?
Well, why political survival? Why would anybody want to survive politically if not to maintain the intention of politics? The intention of politics always is for a political party to grab power from the ruling party, especially when that ruling party is performing poorly and is, in this case in Nigeria, as in the case in Nigeria, leading the nation into an avoidable, cataclysm. So if it is to survive politically, political science and political activities must be part of democracy and part of nation building. So surviving politically is a positive attitude if you have a group of people wanting to survive politically. What is important is that having survived politically, they use that power for the general good of the people. And that's what we are about. That's what the ADC is about. How to take over power from the ruling party and stem the, unsealed and unsealing taxation that the APC has visited on the Nigerian people, especially when monies from that high taxes and unending taxes are not seen being used for any good purpose. We want to take over power from the ruling party so that Nigerians who are dying by the thousands daily in the hands of bandits, terrorists, and everyone who chooses to attack Nigeria, either in the military barracks or at home, are protected from those hoodlums, are protected from those bandits and terrorists. We want to take over power so that we'll have power where the president who is supposed to be addressing the issue of energy and power is himself looking for palliatives to run Aso Rock. We want to take over power so that the president won't have to be traveling every week and spending more days abroad on medical vacation and on medical treatments that he's spending running the government at home. So political survival is a good thing when you want to take the reign of power and the hem of affairs so that you can have the authority to take decisions and ensure that those decisions are implemented. So when you talk about people just coming in, it is funny in this country when I see anybody pointing finger to anybody. If you actually subject everybody to forensic tests, integrity tests, and all form of indices of measurement, that money is going to be left in the basket. As I always said, Nigerians will be the people that will solve the problems of Nigeria. We are not going to import aliens from anywhere. We will rather learn from those who have had experience and have shown cause, and are showing cause daily by abandoning their comfort zones to gather to bear all forms of affliction, all forms of persecution, all forms of name calling.
Okay.
And are struggling to ensure that we will keep the nation together and we keep democracy in place and politics running.
Okay, Christopher, you still have the floor. You still have the floor, but you just made mention of the fact that, yes, political survival could be positive. And again, you understand the fact that the case your party has is before the Supreme Court's judgment. And of course, you are under a faction of the party, because we understand the ADC has two factions. Why we have that of Senator David Mark and then the order of Nafiu Gombe. What happens if the Supreme Court does not give judgment in the favor of your faction? Would you defect to another party?
Well, we have to be careful the way we use the word faction in Nigeria, because I realize that once you have a disagreement, or you have people who are paid to come and malign people, we rush to give them the title of faction. If you are in your home with your family, your children and your wife, Philip, and an eavesdropper or a passerby who means he stands in front of your house and starts to quarrel in front of your house, and people come out and say you have a faction or a divided family, they won't really be correct. Nafiu Gombe, you mentioned, is not a member of the ADC. It's an agent paid by the APC to come and create a semblance of faction. And then Amopitan, who was appointed and a known APC member, who by his tweets have been shown to be APC member and an APC apologist, who of course is on the same side with the president, the people who are paying Nafiu Gombe to come and create a semblance. You cannot lay claim to an institution that you are not a part of. You have resigned. Forensic experts have looked at it and have seen that you resigned. Your bad spelling of chairman or chairman have revealed a pattern that is yours. Your handwriting have been tested and it's yours. So he's a man who left the party because he didn't think that the party has any future. Now the party is growing, and then it's becoming, the party to beat. Everybody wants to come back to it and destroy that party because it's a threat to the APC. So it is you outside that use the word faction. I'm giving you the correct situation now. We in the ADC have no faction, because you have to be a member of the ADC to factionalize it. We are dealing with an outside aggressor. We are dealing with a paid agent. So your question actually, in essence, does not arise because we haven't had faction in ADC yet. So I remain a member of the ADC, and then we have no reason to have faction right now.
Thank you, Christopher. We just hope that you are able to stabilize that, because we've had this challenge where at every given challenge, we see politicians moving from one party to another. Harrison, please. What do you have to say in that respect? Do you see this as true intentions of politicians coming to save the country, or just for personal survival, using political survival as a way of, dodging the question? Harrison, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Did you get my question?
Yes, I got it. And quite frankly, that's the reality of the political terrain in Nigeria. No matter how we try to sugarcoat it, it is merely a political survival. Whether that will change tomorrow is a different discourse entirely. But currently, what we have in our political system is a group of individuals aggrieved of a particular decision in their former home, coming together to form a political alignment for convenience and for the sake of grabbing power. That hasn't changed. That has been the trading stock. That has been the pattern that we have witnessed over the years, even down to this very moment. The current ADC, obviously, that seems to be the major opposition currently in Nigeria, is also not exonerating itself from that same pattern. No matter how we look at it, that is what it is today. And we should be able to call a spade a spade. Now, the discourse should now be, having decided to come together to grab political power for the sake of convenience, for the sake of it, for either whether you are aggrieved or not, what then happened after thereof? That should be the conversation. And that is where we should begin to set an agenda for them to say, okay, considering what has happened over the years, this is an expectation. This is what Nigerians will expect from you. This is what we think you should do differently from what we are currently experiencing from the current political system or the political actors on stage at the moment. That should be the conversation. Beginning to dodge the questions or what we currently experience, I don't think that obviously will do us any good. For me as an individual, at least I've been old enough in the political system to understand that year in, year out in the political circle, that seems to be the pattern. For the ADC currently, personally, I will begin to ask that, let's begin to ask them the pertinent question that pertains to governance. What are they going to do differently? Yes, they have a very solid ground to begin to propagate their political agenda. They have a very solid platform to begin to sell to Nigerians what they can do differently. I have always told my people that Nigerian system is such that it is a carnivorous in nature, where currently what we have is a system where taxes are raised, fines are raised, people are being stressed on a daily basis. So there are indicators across Nigerians for opposition party to strive. What can they do differently? What are the policy formation? What do they think they can do differently from what APC is currently doing? What can they bring forward to Nigeria? What is actually the agenda? Apart from the mirage of conversations, we are this, we are that. No, we need to begin to sit down to say, okay, considering the policy formation in Nigeria, considering in the next 4 years, these are the things we intend to come and do. It is not a system where we expect them to possibly begin to either reintegrating those from other political parties into them just because they want to grab power. We should begin to see a new pattern system. Between now and 2027, over 40 million Nigerians will possibly move into a voting age between the age of 18 to 20 something. What is the agenda they are putting on ground to say, oh, these are the things we are going to do differently to bring in new hope, new blood into the stream, and not continue with the pattern of aggrieved political individuals just simply because we want to grab power. Yes, after you have grabbed the power, what do you want to do with the power? That should be the conversation. For the sake of grabbing power, it is convenience. Okay. There are things weakness, there are things we are familiar with.
Okay, quickly, Harrison. Quickly, Harrison, just a question, and I will need you to answer that in a minute. Do you see the current opposition parties as institutionally strong enough to withstand political pressure? Because we had an experience, at Djibouti, where the president came up again for the 6th term in office, a 78-year-old Ismail Gale, and the political parties, thinned out due to political pressure. Do you see the political parties in opposition in Nigeria as having the resilience to withstand political pressure?
Currently, the searchlight is beamed on the ADC, and I would want to say yes. With the caliber of individuals in ADC, these are proven politicians, texted over the years, and they've gone through this circle, and they have the capacity to withstand either opposition pressure from the sitting government. These are individuals over the years that have a track record in their own individual capacity. Some of them actually emerged from opposition down to where they are now. So in terms of that, I think my answer will be capital yes. Now, whether they will be able to annex the collective strength and put forward a good fight is a different conversation tomorrow.
All right.
And it's where they need to sit down and get their acts together and possibly come up with a pact to declare. At the end of the day, should decisions not go in your favor, are you still going to remain a member of the party, or you are going to join the other political room to disintegrate what we have built collectively? Those are the conversations they possibly need to begin to have internally to strengthen themselves and put forward a good fight against the sitting government.
Thank you very much, Prince Harrison Ehimiyan, PhD, a lecturer at the Department of Political Science, University of Benin, and former Principal Private Secretary to the GMD NNPC, Honorable Minister, State Petroleum Resources, Nigeria. Well, let's shift to you, Chris. And, encomiums has been showered on your party by Prince Harrison. But let's look at your plans to bring the electorate in your favor? Because some have always believed that it's always a recurring decimal where another party comes in and then grab power and continues without, you know, ameliorating the plight of Nigerians. What should be the faith that the electorate should have in your party?
Well, I think that you can only predict on existence. You look at antecedents and you look at precedences, and then you look at extant existence, and then you are able to predict on that, because there's no way any man can tell about the future otherwise. Now, what has my party done since its inception and its formation? My party has concentrated on the Nigerian people, the grassroots. In fact, we are being criticized earlier on of the mission of the party that we didn't have, or we didn't concentrate on the ruling class, because the mentality that prevailed before ADC was that you have to have that ruling class to call all the shots, and that pressure can only come from that ruling class. Well, I'm using ruling class for want of better word. I should use the word the class of the oppressors, the bourgeois, and the clique of thieves who consider themselves to be the owners of the country, just because you haven't found an inexorable, resilient party like the ADC to challenge that assumption. So challenge that done by concentrating on the grassroots and on the Nigerian people. Our strength today is not in the number of governors we are counting. It is the number of the appeal. I should use the word number of the appeal, or the number of people that our message have appealed to. The number of grassroots that our message and our strategies have won to our side. And it is that grassroots that is the strength with which we are going into the election. So our pact, actually, and our bond is with the grassroots. They have very high expectations from us. The grassroots will leave you if you don't meet their expectations. They may not be a vocal majority, we call them the silent majority, but they are very little force. They have strength of silence. And so when you are able to read their silence and you give them the right message, they unleash that leader force, and that's what they have done now. So they are overwhelming the loud ruling class and the ruling party by that simple, statement that we know what is good for us and we know what is right for us. So we are going to end the ball, just as the last speaker had said, to ensure that we don't disappoint those hopes and expectations. For instance, I'll give you one example. Nigerians don't like to be polarized. We don't like to be enemies of one another, whether we are using religion or region, ethnicity, and whatever. Now, when the ADC came on board, we understood that. And so in our party formation, we were egalitarian, democratic, patriotic, and nationalistic. One of the great appeal of the ADC today is the nationalistic outlook. The North, the South, the Middle Belt, the Far South are all very well represented in the ADC. And each one of those leadership that represent these various regions and various power blocks are sending the message home to their people that we are forming a national party and we should be united in that purpose. Now, the greatest problem we usually have in this country is that right from the word go, you have either the balance of power shifting to a particular region, or you have suspicion within the system and then polarization even before they arrive. I remember when the APC was forming, analysts were saying this, that this is not actually a political party forming, it's just an assemblage of people. And then they will soon have problems. When they grab power, it was the last of APC. It's a political party today where anybody can get up and say anything they want to say. You don't even know who is in charge until they have an emperor now on whose mandate they all stand. Because, no, they didn't come with ideology separately. But in the ADC, we have people coming with ideology separately, and we are energizing all. into a national movement, a national front, and a national identity. And on that national identity, we are all sharing. So the first thing is to unite Nigerians. Unite them to a common purpose. Let them have a feeling of patriotism and nationality. The APC is achieving that as PDP tried to do then. That's what we are doing here. So that will also lead to sharing of position after we win. Once people feel that positions have been equitably distributed and all parts of the country have been well taken care of, there's a balance, and that leads to cooperation. Cooperation will not enhance governance. Those are the roots of the problem that we have. It's not, you see, once you stop that, whatever economic policy you are bringing, you won't get the cooperation for implementation. So the NDC is well aware of this, and that's why we look at the experience which some want to poo-poo and criticize and say, politicians who have been this and that. Without this experience, they won't be doing the right things now. Experience is always useful. So we are going to ensure that we maintain a nationalistic party. We are going to ensure that there's equitable balance in power sharing, equitable balance in position sharing, which will not enhance smooth running of government. We have just one step to go through. They have said we will not be able to do a congress. We are doing the final congress today, which is the National Convention. The same way we are going to go through a primaries.
Thank you, Christopher.
That we are going to do a primary, that the whole nation will see that we went through a primaries, and we are going to pick the popular choice of the people. So all of these are examples, and they are working toward, creating an environment and a context for good governance. That's what we've been doing, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Thank you, Christopher. Well, building a very strong opposition is the focus. And let's get to you, Harrison. Harrison, are you with me? We need a united force, a situation where, we have possibly coalition, coming together to form unity, to make a bond, to challenge the ruling party. Do you see that coming up in the nearest future, ahead of 2027?
Yes, the answer is yes, and the answer is no at the same time. Yes, if we are able to put machineries in place that will aid opposition and give them the necessary platform to strive, the answer obviously will be yes. And that's the beauty of democracy. As a matter of fact, for human species to evolve, conversation obviously must be deepened. And for that to happen, we must ensure that we have a striving democracy, a system that creates opportunity, fair enough for others to run. So should the system be willing to do that? Yes, I see that happening. Why am I aligning with these thoughts? If the system is unwilling to create an enabling environment to allow opposition to strike, this obviously will not happen. For instance, we've talked about the involvement of the electoral umpire, and we also heard the media comment from the INEC chairman as it well. Now, a situation where the INEC that obviously ought not to be politically involved with what is happening in the system begin to tow such line and thoughts. Obviously, that is sending a wrong signal to the democracy that we are trying to nurture. So that obviously will be a no-no, and that will not create a system for opposition to strive. The judicial system also, there is already a searchlight that is beaming in that direction. The case you had referenced is also at the front burner, where we are expecting to hear the judicial pronouncement on that. Now, should it go the other way around, the answer also is going to be no, opposition will not be able to strive. But if there are enabling environments for opposition to carry out their political activity and constitutional activity as created, I want to believe that obviously will work fine for us. And that will strengthen our democracy, that will create opportunity for people to make a choice, and the world obviously will take us very seriously.
Thank you very much, Prince Harrison. Let's get to a member of the All Progressives Congress. He is a social media influencer also, joining us via Zoom from the U.S., Texas Houston particularly. Good morning, Ahmed. Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed, Philip. Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen and viewers at home.
Pretty good to see you here. Well, we are talking about the need to have a very, very strong opposition. You agree with me that no matter how fantastic the policies of the All Progressives Congress is, of which you are a member, doesn't shut down the need for us to have a very strong opposition. Do you agree? And again, there are reports or impressions that your party seems to be setting landmines to implosively, denigrate the opposition or make them weakened. What do you have to say in that regard?
Again, thank you, Philip, for inviting me to your show and giving me the opportunity to contribute my thoughts to your discussion. So yes, I do agree that in a virile democracy, there should be opposition, and I do not believe that opposition voices should be stifled in any manner or form. Having said that, it is not incumbent on the ruling party, the APC, to mitigate the incompetence of the opposition element when they are destroying themselves from within. The incompetence of the opposition element has led to not just the fracturing of their so-called special purpose vehicle, the ABC, which was put together by disparate and unwilling members to a union that is completely impossible and unwieldy to hold together. The simple matter of fact is, if you remove the element of their shifting blame for their incompetence to the APC, what is left? Any dispassionate observer can see that what has happened is that they did not do their homework properly. They were not prepared for the battle that they put themselves in. And as a consequence, their special purpose vehicle is falling apart. It's as simple as that. Why would the president be interested in a one-party system? They cannot come together and stop his re-election. The Nigerian people chose him the first time, and they will have the opportunity to do so again. So look, they need to get themselves together. The opposition needs to come together more purposefully, more determined, and with less, should I say, underhand means to come and grab power. Nigeria has moved beyond this point. Let me also quickly say that I do agree that if the INEC chairman is found to be partisan in any way, shape, manner, or form, then he should be asked to step aside. But until that is proven through the appropriate channels, then all of this is simply hot air. We do not expect that members of the so-called opposition will now be coming and talking about anti-judicial means to wrest power or to change power. If the court pronounces and the court says this is the current position, it is incumbent on people to show that what the kind of leadership they are trying to bring or imbibe is a respect for the norms and applications of the democratic process. And one of those is respect for judicial pronouncement. You cannot say the justice system has said this is wrong, and then you go ahead regardless to hold whatever convention. That is not how democracy works. That should not be acceptable, and it will not be acceptable. The system must be allowed to function. The rules of the system must be respected, and whatever it is that they have, there's a proper laid down procedure for you to air your grievances. If
okay, Ahmed. Can you hear me?
Yes,
now, you still have the floor. There's a good authority that most Nigerians are tired of your party in power, most especially with the challenges facing the country, insecurity. And of course, even when the president came to Plateau State, even at the airport, he couldn't leave the airport to talk the communities. And some flimsy reason was given by the fact that the airport wasn't lit. And again, you have the challenge where even at Aso Rock, where the president promised, that he's going to give power even before the end of his tenure for the first time. Aso Rock is being wired by solar. Now, all of this, does it not point to the fact that your party has failed in power? And most especially if there's a strong opposition to tackle and compete with it in 2027, it will lose the election.
Thank you again for a very interesting question, Philip. But you jumped from a logical line of thinking to a completely irrelevant summation of what it is that you said. Let me agree that yes, there's a huge number of Nigerians that are opposed to the APC government in power. This is normal in any democracy. It is absolutely normal. What you are saying, let me simply illustrate what you are saying. Everybody that did not vote for Bola Tinubu, that voted for Atiku Abubakar or voted for Peter Obi, are against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That is granted. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they do not see the good work that the administration is doing. Now, to highlight one of the things that you raised point by point, when the president went to Jos, the issue wasn't that he did not want to meet with the communities, but he was time-bound because of the lighting system in the airport. The lighting system in the airport does not allow for a night movement of those aircraft, and that's why he said he had to leave. He was time-bound. It is not an excuse that is acceptable to me, but I'm telling you the simple matter of fact that presidential movement is guided by a different set of rules than ordinary movement. Now, as far as the solar power in Aso Rock is concerned, the administration came out and simply pointed out that there has been a problem with power supply in Aso Rock far predating this administration. And it is an untenable situation that they will not allow to continue. How do we ameliorate the situation? We simply move away from the power grid so that some of even the stress on the power grid will be allowed to go to other places. And then the bills were also untenable, so they had to do something. Now, if you cast your mind back to the way the power sector was deregularized under the former administration, members of which are now in the opposition shouting ADC, it was simply given to cronies that had no previous history in power, either generation or power distribution. And that is the problem that Nigeria is currently facing. The previous administration did its best to fight some of these things, but you cannot fight a systemic problem that goes far back into 30, 40, 50 years overnight. So yes, there's a lot of disgruntlement. Yes, a lot of Nigerians are unhappy with the administration, but that does not mean they do not appreciate the giant strides that the administration has taken in moving the country forward, in establishing democratic norms, and we are not about to sit down and let a few incompetent people who cannot even get themselves together in a special purpose vehicle to come and prove that they are better at governance. We don't have time for people to come and learn on the job. We need people who have tested, who have done it, and will continue to do it. So at the end of the day, I don't see Nigerians come out and stand behind the president and stand behind the APC.
Thank you, Ahmed. Well, let's get to you, Christopher Ojekere. You heard what Ahmed said, that your party has not been able to come together, in a proper vehicle to challenge the All Progressives Congress. Another comments he made. What do you have to say?
Very delightfully, Ahmed has done the mathematics of the last election. The figures of Obi and the figures of Atiku are now together in one party, which is called special purpose. So that should speak much, and that speaks volume. So he should also know, as an addition, that those figures are increasing. The supporters of Obi and the supporters of Atiku Abubakar put together in the last election has already put Tinubu out of power, and that number is growing now. So he has done that mathematics for us. Now, a special purpose vehicle should be allowed to function within the system. You should not use thought processes, twist them out of context to try and frustrate that special purpose vehicle. Every lawyer knows what return to status quo means, but the professor of law, Josh Amupitan, gave a very strange interpretation to return to status quo. And then Ahmed is saying that we must force ourselves to accept the ignorance of the professor. And we are saying no. The professor derives his rights from the Constitution, so do we. We know what the law says about political party processes, and INEC itself has given timelines, and we are following those timelines religiously to ensure that the powers we derive from the Constitution as a political party to legislate and, you know, execute our own internal democracy, that we are not going to, because of the ignorance of Amupita, let go that process. And that's why we are going ahead with our congresses, which we are concluding today in a convention. We are covered by the law and the Constitution. So what he should address actually is how is Tinubu going to now overcome Obi and Atiku put together, when the last time, subject to many suspicion, he did not even win the election. And then when you now add on top of this what he said, that when the president is confronted with a national problem like energy, he should dodge it rather than face it. He's justifying the president dodging the question of facing the issue of energy and coming out with a policy that will solve the problem. He's also justifying the question of the president who left deliberately for just, not for the families of those that have been slaughtered by terrorists, but for something very different. I think he went there to mock them. Because the president should have a schedule, and the schedule had put his flight in the night, where the lights are not supposed to function. So what was the purpose of going to Jos in the first place? It means that that act of terrorism in the Jos was not in the president's agenda, and it was not his priority. So what they have just done is to provide excuses for all the failures of the president and the APC. We are saying that APC have come now to address all of those issues. We have come to address the energy issue head on. We have to sit down and come up with a policy. If the president thinks that solar source of energy is one source, why has he not come up with a policy to say, now let us begin to exploit other sources of energy? Rather, he dodges the problem, conveniently gets a source of energy for himself, and tells the rest of Nigerians, you can go and deal with your energy problem yourself and deal with the light issue yourself. And that's what Ahmed is justifying. And then he goes to Jos and is telling the families of the slain that, look, I'm not here for your families. I don't care about whether they are dying or not. I came for a special purpose, and my time is up for that special purpose. I have to return back to Abuja. That's what he's saying. And that's why Nigerians are angry. The way this man has alienated the people he was elected to serve, the way he has alienated our problems and left it to us to solve. And there was a lacuna, and the ADC saw that and said, look, we need to fill this lacuna. Nigerians must get a party of people who care about them and who will manage their resources to their advantage. That's what we are all about. So I thank you for giving us the reasons why the president's attitude is the way it is.
Okay, Christopher. Well, let's get to you, Prince Harrison. Now, the electorate should be coming into this issue because they are the one that's going to make the choices. Now, let me borrow a little from what Ahmed said, and of course also what he commented on, talking about Christopher Jekere, the special purpose vehicle. Now, do you see the opposition at present as a choice that the electorate can, really rely on? Because we usually have this challenge where at the point when the PDP was in power, the All Progressives Congress came and said, vote for change. Some Nigerians really didn't know what that change meant, but after all, there was a change. Now, what should guide the choices of the electorate ahead of 2027? Looking at the options before the electorate, the opposition as it is now, and we hope that it could be stronger, and of course the ruling party, the APC. What should guide the choices of the electorate?
Well, quite frankly, it's a very difficult time to speak in favor of government in power, and I want to commend Mr. Ahmed for the job he's doing greatly, because there are quite a lot of things that are very glaring within a political system that citizens obviously cannot overlook. especially when it affects you directly. I had said earlier that ADC as a political party, they are actually in a very good position to have vexed the citizens to their side and possibly ensure that come 2027, things will work in their favor. There are a couple of things that they can do for citizens to begin to look in that direction. Number one, they need to begin to do things differently. There's a local phrase within the Nigerian spectrum where people, when they want to describe the activities of the government as it were today, they will simply tell you that in Nigeria not happen to you. That is a simple way of telling you that what is happening in the Nigerian system at the moment is not palatable and people are not happy about it. So ADC as an opposition party should begin to do things differently. I had mentioned that before now. Number two, they should be intentional about policy design. They should be intentional about what they need to do. All of this should be put forward to the people to make a choice. And as it were today, the Nigerian democratic system is getting deeper on a daily basis. There are quite a lot of people who are interested in the political discourse. There are quite a lot of people who are interested in the political activity. There are quite a lot of people who are involved, and they want to be directly involved in who eventually emerges as either a president, as a governor or House of Rep, at any political position at all. These are areas where DC should possibly begin to mirror on and be intentional about it. Quite a lot of people are educated to read documents. What are they putting forward? Number three, they should also be intentional about discussing internally to ensure that there is no internal sabotage. Yes, Mr. Jokere had earlier mentioned before now, and we already know that there are quite a lot of people within and outside that are being used to destabilize the peace and continuity of the political of the ADC as a political party. That obviously is expected to happen in a crude system like ours that we operate. But what are they doing to mitigate it? What are they doing to stop it from happening? As political oppositions, what are they doing to ensure that this does not see the light of the day? The political actors are coming from all divides. As a matter of fact, all of these political actors in PDP, if not 99% of them or 90% of them are from the former PDP. All of them had PDP alliance. Many of them have APC alliance. Today they are in ADC. What are they doing internally to ensure that should decision not go in one way's favor tomorrow, that individual will not destabilize what they are currently building? We've seen it happen before in PDP convention, where one person didn't get what he was expected, and it was used to destabilize the party. And that is why today PDP is a shadow of itself. So these are conversations I believe they should put forward for Nigerians to begin to make informed choices.
Thank you. Another borrow of a leaf from what Harrison said. Over to you, Ahmed Mamadou. In 1 minute, I will want your response, most especially as regards the fact that he said at this crucial time, because you are not in Nigeria, you are in the US. So I believe if you were in Nigeria, maybe you could be singing a different song. But at these critical times, it could be difficult for you to really market the All Progressives Congress. What do you have to say in that reaction to what Prince Harrison said in 1 minute?
Let me quickly thank Prince Harrison and my leader, Christopher, for their input. But the matter of fact is that Nigerians are aware of the precarious situation that the APC has come to rescue them from. The matter of fact is that these actors in these special purpose vehicles are simply masquerades of the past that we are trying to get rid of. There are going to be people who are going to vote. There's a young population of Nigerians who appreciate. Let me highlight some of the things that people are going to come out and vote for. They are going to come out for local government autonomy. They are going to come out and vote for judicial autonomy. They are going to come out and vote for the Lagos Coastal Road. They are going to come out and vote for the Lagos Sokoto Road. And there are so many other infrastructural and economic developmental projects that the APC has done that Nigerians will appreciate. There is a simple matter of fact that we always ignore. At the last presidential election, all of the actors said they were going to remove the fuel subsidy. The only area of contention was how would they go about implementing it. Bola Ahmed Tinubu took the bull by the horns. Unfortunately, it has led to a lot of suffering and poverty, but these are temporary things that we keep on telling the Nigerian people that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Look at the Dangote refinery, for example. If not for the insistence of this administration that refinery must be fully functional, imagine the kind of pains and poverty and suffering that Nigerians will be undergoing while this war in Iran is going on. So some of these things, yes, there's a lot that is wrong, but there is also a lot that is right. And I urge the Nigerian people to continue to make their voice heard. I urge the Nigerian government to continue to make sure there is democracy, there is the alternate voice, and we will allow them to speak, but they must do it properly. My leader came out and said something, and I want him to remember when it comes to that point in time. You cannot eat your cake and have it. Democracy is not subjective. It is one pill that you must swallow as a whole. If the court says this is wrong, take it to the higher court. Don't disregard the current orders and go ahead and do what you will. In the end of it, Nigeria must win whatever it is that happens, and that must be all of our focus at every point in time.
Well, Ahmed, I think I like the way you swing the pendulum, and I'm going to use what you said, to ask the next question. Christopher Ojekere, he said if Nigerians must vote, they are voting for coastal roads, they are voting for fuel subsidy removal that has appreciably brought increase in the revenue for states. They are voting for, local government autonomy, and I believe he must have missed that point of even state policing. What do you have to say in reaction to that? Most especially as we also expect you to talk about the personalities involved in the ADC. What track records do they have that could make their electorate vote in the ADC in power?
Well, Ahmed picked the wrong examples. No wonder, as he said, it's not in Nigeria. Now, let me tell him about the coastal road that was awarded for 1.5 trillion naira. He doesn't have a single paper of who that contract was awarded to. Nigeria don't have any documented record. It wasn't subject to any bidding, but we have it on good authority that it was awarded to Kalguri, the friend of the president, overnight. And that coastal road that he's saying is still in the air, invisible to normal human beings. The last time the press wanted to know about the coastal road, we were told that about 20 or 30 kilometers have been done, and 2 trillion naira has been paid out, to whom there are no documents. A president awards 1.5 trillion naira road to somebody that we do not know. Now that's for the coastal road. He spoke about the Sokoto-Badagry road. Well, maybe the generation after us will see that road, but we don't know that we will see that road in our own generation.
Okay.
And then he spoke about the removal of the fuel subsidy, which the president announced in a bravado style the day he was inaugurated. The worst statement any president in this country has ever made. That statement sent shock waves to the Nigerian economy, and within hours, the Petroleum Marketer Association hiked the cost of fuel, and that's the problem we still have today. The economy has never recovered after that brazen bravado statement.
Thank you, Chris.
And the money eventually came, and they were released to governors, as
Thank you, Chris.
not to the Nigerian citizens. And as in the case of Edo, for instance, all the governor does with it, according to the promise he made before he became governor, he patronizes leaders, buys bulletproof cars for the state chairman, buys bulletproof cars for the leaders of his party, uses it to rig local government election. He spoke about local government autonomy. Even the Supreme Court, the last time, told the federal government to keep faith with his word. You pronounce local government autonomy, they are supposed to be on first line charge. Up to today, it's not implemented. And it will never be implemented because the president wants to please the governors who he thinks will be able to help him shore up votes, for 2027. So he picked the wrong policies because none of those policies is effective. None of those policies affecting the lives of Nigeria. None of those policies have made any difference to our economy. state policing is still in the talks, and he's not the first person that started talking about state policing. If it's not to be in the talks, he has had 3 years. What efforts have he put, has the present government put in place to ensure that we have state policing? Why has there ever...
Okay, thank you so much, Christopher Ojekere. Big thanks. I think you ventilated the point. Big thanks for taking our time to be part of this. I want to say big thanks also to Ahmed Momodu and, of course, Prince Harrison from Canada. This is much we can take on this. We now go over to our Lagos studio where Patricia Gabriel is standing by. Over to you, Patricia.
Hello and welcome to the continuation of this morning on ITV. I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels. Welcome to our Lagos Network studio, where we'll be discussing the chances of opposition parties and INEC readiness in 2027 election. Is INEC ready for the elections? Do we have opposition parties ready 2027? We're going to be looking at all of this from our Lagos Network studio. And with me to do this, it's Mr. Tony Wajay. Mr. Tony Wajay is a political analyst.
Thank
Welcome
you so
to
much.
the program.
Good morning, Nigerians.
And so this studio wants to say we've missed you.
Thank you. It's amazing studio too.
Thank you for coming. And then we also have Dr. Sam Wasinda. Dr. Sam Wasinda is a public affairs analyst. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Okay, so gentlemen, opposition party in Nigeria is becoming a big problem right now, because it's been from one problem to another for the ADC. What exactly is the current political landscape for opposition parties ahead of 2027 elections? Let me start with you.
The landscape at the moment is it's not looking good. It's troubling. And who do we blame for this? Of course, because it's always good to put the blame where it should be placed. If, the current administration is not helping at all. Some people may not want to admit it, but it's the truth. You cannot run a country without an opposition under a democracy. I've said it here many times. But it's like it has worked. It worked for them before when they were running a state. But this is federal. People are speaking all the time, but it's like they are not listening, because if we continue on this trajectory, Nigeria will be in serious trouble. You cannot run a one-party state under our present. That's why most times I make mistake. I don't want to call it a democracy under a civil government this way, under a civil administration as we have it today, because you can't cherry pick the features of democracy the way we do it in Nigeria. When it suits you, you call it democracy. When it suits you, you say you're a Democrat. You're the best Democrat in Africa. Yeah. In fact, people can say whatever they like, because the indicators on ground are not showing it. Okay, let's just see. Okay, ADC convention, for instance, ADC convention is holding today, and I like it for the fact that these men stood up and said to themselves that we're going to do it either way, because they know where the arrow is coming from. There were no issues at all. INEC chairman just stood up one day, granted an interview, and said, and then suddenly, delisting some.
Okay, for the convention, we also heard someone came to say that.
I was going there, so, and then there was no problem at all with ADC. People were moving, and then suddenly you saw some, like a positive indicator, a positive move by the opposition, and then you just throw a wheel, you just at that point you just feel uncomfortable, and it's gathering your people and say, how do we truncate this? Because that is what happened. The moment Kwankwaso joined the party, that was the genesis of all this. The one that hurts me the most is that people talk, people complain, and you don't even listen. Nigeria is not owned by one person. Nigeria is not owned by one person. They join the party. Just allow them. Just allow them. Okay, yesterday, they were denied Eagle Square. A day to their convention, they were denied Eagle Square. And they managed to secure an event center. I said last night, I read the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. I read a press release from him on Twitter, presently X. You know, chastising the president's administration because of, I mean, how can you do? First of all, you denied them Eagle Square. Now you are going after the owner of this event center, from which, of course, that if they go ahead and grant them the venue, so things will happen. How do we defend that? How do we defend that? And I'm happy again that the opposition figures are saying today the convention, as I just read it now, that in fact they are all gathered at the moment. They must go on with that convention because we cannot allow just one man to sit somewhere and speak. I mean, you have all the governors to yourself. Allow them. If you feel you're too big, that you've won the game already. So why are you panicking? You cannot run a country without opposition. Let's face the truth. For once, let's face the truth for once in this country and do the right thing. Even under Buhari's administration, we never had it this bad.
Okay, Dr. Sam Wasinda, you heard him. He has just said, mentioned some challenges that the opposition parties faces in building a strong coalition coming this 2027 elections. Do you have more, of these challenges you want to add?
Okay, well, like I have said, I've mentioned that in your studio at one point, that for me, it's clear that the ruling party currently has a lot they are dealing with. And that is because they did not perform as they promised. So this is what is haunting them. But one of the things they have forgotten, which I always say here, is that this 2027 election is not between political parties. It's between Nigerian people and the current ruling parties. And that is why, like he said, I agree with him totally, that the ADC have decided to go on with the convention. That is what it should be. Because somebody will not, because of his inability to perform when he's in a position to do so, and then you just want to see how you can now determine who should be your opposition persons.
No, but as it is, it looks like he doesn't even want an opposition party at all. Because Labour Party also had issues. PDP, we also had PDP had gone under the carpet. Labour Party, the same thing. Now ADC.
Yes,
why?
Because why I said he wants to choose his own opposition is because, yes, I agree that PDP has their own but the challenges at the end of the day has tinted towards his direction, meaning that he is choosing his opposition, because we have PDP today led by Wike, and he's telling us that the loyalty is to, even though we still have the issue of fraction. So for me, that's the reason why I made the statement that he wants to choose who his opponent will be, and determine to what extent and what
so
length.
He doesn't want them to fight.
You understand? So if there must be opposition party, he wants to determine who are his opponents. And that's exactly what he's doing now. But I'm happy that the current ADC in particular are really, really pushing it to let him know that this narrative cannot go through. Because, like he said, this is not the party, this is not the politics of Lagos State. We're talking about national politics here. And the whole action and reaction from him is actually biting on everybody. And
so do you think the ADC can actually push?
They're pushing already.
I mean, they're pushing with some chance coming.
Supreme Court was yesterday, I think today, it was referred to. They go on. See, it has got seen to that level. You cannot decimate other political parties. So whatever it takes. And my happiness is that people who work with the president, because let's just put it the way it is. People who worked with the president before, some of them are in this ADC. So they understand his game plan. They understand his game, and they are giving it to him. You can kill other politics. Just as you said, Labour Party is nowhere. PDP, of course, we know. Sheyi Makinde said it when they met the president in Wike. This was what Wike promised the president. And he delivered clinically. PDP is gone. ADC from nowhere, they went. Well, everything was well. We saw how the power was transferred from the former ESCO to the current one, led by David Mark. Everything was seamless, and INEC was there. We were watching. As I tell them to die, no, you can't motion, have the online. So people are going to kick, and what ADC is doing, I support them 100%. Go ahead and let's wait for the court. It's simple. They are still in court. So, but, I mean, they are not disobeying any court order. They are saying we must go ahead because there were no issues. It just came from Josh and Josh and his Amopito and his people. It's crazy. We must put it where it should be put. Otherwise, we'll be wasting time. Okay, you don't want to tell the truth. We shouldn't discuss that. But the truth is that the presidency doesn't want these people to exist. And it doesn't matter.
Time is the thing I want us to talk about. We're wasting time. Now you say the convention is going to go on today.
It is going on.
And then they still have the case in court. Don't you think the case will escalate and then time runs out? Will they be able to present a candidate?
That is what they, of course, that is what the rule wants. What can I show you? I don't want to believe that the Supreme Court will rule against them because they are watching what is going on. Nigerians are going through tough times. And they may not want to go through that part again in 2027. So give them option, except judiciary has been pocketed 100%. So I still believe, I hope the judiciary will do the needful within the time frame. Okay. I believe they will do the needful within the time frame, and they will reason along with Nigerians.
Let's hope the judiciary will do the right thing.
I pray, and I'm optimistic about it.
Yes. Okay, so, you know, we just read in the social media, allegedly, I don't know how true this is, that the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and others have been suspended from ADC for anti-party activities. This is allegedly. But if it is true,
it's true. I saw the video from his word in Adamawa.
Does this affect him in the Central?
Well, for me, I still see that as an advanced strategy to still destabilize what the ADC are trying to push, because they've already seen that it's obvious that the ADCs are not going to back out. They have made up their mind to go on, just like he said. The convention is already on, and I'm sure people are already moving to the venue. And so these are part of the things they need to also keep bringing, introducing here and there, just to puncture and to weaken the strength and the push of the ADC. And for me, this shows clearly that the ADC's or opposition party is actually against the ruling, and so they are everything they could.
Let's go on a short break. We'll be right back.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program Healthy Living
on ITV from our Lagos Network studio. We were talking about article suspension from the ward in Adamawa. How will this affect the central of the ADC party as a body?
Okay, like I was saying before we went on that break, I said for me is part of the strategy of the ruling party, just to see if they can weaken the strength and the drive and the push of the opposition party. Because if not, why now? This whole report came in yesterday. It was yesterday we started hearing that he has been suspended. Are they just realizing that he has been carrying out some party activities? Why yesterday, when they know that there's a national convention today? So for me, I see that as a clear, strategy. But you could see that from all indication, even the body language of the ADC, they have made up their mind to move on and then to avoid the distraction. And just like Mr. Tony also said, don't forget that these people have been with this man before. So they are not new to this game. So they understand what actually is playing out. And so they will continue to push in and then see how the court will be able to resolve that as the time goes on. But you see, that time that is of essential for them, they need to make sure they do the needful so that they can buy time. And then, because, the whole of this thing ought to be rounded up on or before 30th of May. So time is not really on their side. The window is closing very fast, so they have to do everything they can. So I think what they have decided to do is to avoid distraction and then focus on what is next. So after this, they will go back and see how they can resolve that. But I think this is, again, another strategy to see if they can weaken the ADC party. That's my thought.
Okay. Do you have something to add?
Yes, of course. That's what they do now. They go to the ward. I mean, because they tried the national, you can't get article out through the national. You can't go to Adamawa. He's from Adamawa State. And we're talking about the former vice president of Nigeria. And you just gather some, I was watching them. I said, how did they talk to these people? I mean, I was looking at the lady around them, about two of them. And who gathered them? Do they know the implication of what they are doing? Do they know the implication of what they are doing? For how much? For peanuts? But I know by today, I know they will get on them. It's crazy. What's going on now? I don't understand. Adamawa, Atiku Abubakar, he won Adamawa State as a governor before he was made picked as vice president. So you understand the state. I don't understand what is happening between him and the present governor, but I know it's on top of the game. So, gosh.
Let's hope all of this will be resolved before the time frame. But let's move on to the INEC. Let's look at the INEC readiness. Do you think the INEC is ready? Let me start with you, Dr. Sam Wasinda.
Well, for me, the INEC is ready in a way because of their body language. But when it comes to it in general, I think I have a problem with that readiness because we're having too many issues emanating from even the INEC, who tells that these guys are not really even focused. They don't even know why that institution was created in the first place. Now, particularly, the INEC chairman had been in the news all this while, from one issue to another issue, from one issue to the other issue. For me, I feel at this point, we're supposed not to be around here. What I expect is that the INEC is supposed to have set up probably and a committee to investigate some of these matters, or even the INEC chairman to even step aside so that this matter can be investigated. But rather what we're having is also back and front, which I also see again as a deliberate strategy just to delay and to also frustrate and waste Nigerians' time, because we ought not to be discussing some of these issues now. So for me, INEC readiness is tinted towards the ruling party as far as I'm concerned, because they are the only people who are comfortable with every arrangement that INEC is bringing to the table. There is no members, there's no any opposition party that is comfortable with what they are doing, except the ruling party. So for me, I don't think INEC is actually really ready for this 2027 election. Rather, they are just here to just be throwing spina, on wheels, just to ensure that things are continue to get the way they are, so that at the end of the day, we may probably end up in the one-party system style of governance, because that's what I see now. But when you ask me for readiness, I don't think we are ready, because if we are, I even expect that the president by now should have also, lend his voice and see how this man should be taken out, so that there can be a focal point. Again, the system of even bringing the INEC chairman, I have problem with that, because during Yaradua or so, he set up a committee. I can't remember the name of that committee. And one of the things they came out with, because when he came on board, he said that he understood that the system that brought him is corrupt. That system has not been rectified till now. But he set up a committee at that time, which part of the policy they came with was that the people should be screened and then by the members of the public. That is not what we're experiencing now. Currently, the president that will still handpick whoever will be the INEC chairman. He's in the game, and he wants to also handpick the referee that will blow in the same game. For me, I don't see that as really the best way to go. Of course, we want the Nigerians want the current chairman to go, but they have also forgotten that it's the same man that appointed this that will also appoint another chairman. So for me, this is just some of the things that is really not telling well about the INEC, because we've had this kind of people before, but this particular man, his own is too obvious. He's making it in such a way that Nigerians could see clearly that he's just playing a game that is completely out of the institution of INEC. Okay, so INEC is supposed to be an independent body, So now the INEC chairman is having issues. We also have read that INEC is about to hire a forensic expert to find out if the chairman is actually old pro-Tinubu tweets are real.
Hire a forensic expert to prove INEC. INEC is going to hire a forensic expert to probe INEC chairman. How does it even sound? It's a joke taken too far. And they all throw this kind of jokes every off. It's so clear, in normal clients by now, INEC chairman ought to have resigned. You don't even wait for the president to do that. But in Nigeria, we don't resign. It's clear. You own the account. It's ICT directors, they blabbing on TV. He didn't make any point. The account is owned current INEC chairman in 2022. And, he wasn't INEC chairman then. Then why did he suddenly change it when people spotted it? Just own up and then let's move on. If you don't want to resign, we move on. Because we know, again, as I said before, that we don't resign in Nigeria. But don't lie, because the more you lie, the more problem you're causing for yourself. But as usual, the president is sitting, watching. All he's interested in is how I can win 2027 election. That's all the president is after right now. You only see the president when it has to do with politics. That's all. People your ministers are misbehaving, your appointees are misbehaving, you're sitting quiet. Nothing from the presidency, rather what you see from the presidency is presidential is trying to defend INEC. helping INEC chairman to share press releases and all that in defense, when Nigerians are well aware that INEC chairman goofed in this case. Just come out and apologize. Just own up.
Of course, because you were not the INEC chairman at the time.
As of the time.
Yeah, wasn't okay, but he's INEC chairman. Why did he deny? Change his account. He changed the X account. Why did he change the X account? Which means you admitted to it.
Yeah.
The moment you change, it means you admitted to the error. People spotted. Simple. Just come out. Oh, it's my account, but it was then. And they were saying people impersonated. Why would you want to impersonate a lecturer in University of Jos at that time? Who was he then? Nobody knows him. So why is he denying that he doesn't own he owned the account? Everybody knows. But this present denial, continuous denial, means you're digging your grave the more. But then he knows that nothing will happen. Otherwise, you should, by this morning, I expect him to say, I've resigned, I've checked. Nigerians, forgive me. It was a mistake. You cannot be partisan as an INEC chairman. You cannot be Nigeria right now. And we don't trust him anymore. You cannot be an umpire and trusted in one side.
There. Do you think even if he doesn't resign, he remains the INEC chairman?
People are not going to trust him because it's even too early in the day. You're just appointed, and these are the rods coming from you. It doesn't make sense.
So there will be no trust.
There's already
the trust is not there.
There's no trust.
So he can be there, but Nigerians are not going to trust him.
They are not going to trust him.
I will keep demanding for his resignation till that election because it doesn't make sense.
Let's talk about if he decides to resign or the president decides to take him out. Do you think it's still right for the president to handpick an INEC chairman?
Wrong. It's never right.
It's wrong, but you see, he will always come back to do that.
And do you think he will pick the right person this time around?
If you are talking about picking the right person, let's check even among his cabinets. That means you want us to even go too far. Almost everybody he brings on board are people that looks like this same man.
Partisan.
Who always come to do his bidding and not
Good morning. Welcome to the news update on Independent Television. I am Ekoy Davis. The governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpebholo, has inspected the second phase of road projects slated for construction in Edo Central as part of efforts to expand infrastructure and open up rural communities for economic growth. The roads inspected were the Anedohian Irele Awo Road and the Onewa Ohe Road in Eastern, Northeast, and Central local government areas. Government House correspondent Kingsley Uchegbu has details.
Over 15 communities are expected to be connected to the second phase of the intra-road infrastructure aimed at boosting socio-economic development across rural and urban areas in Edo Central District. The inspection of the new roads by Governor Okpebholo signals the commencement of another phase of road development in the area. This follows the completion of the first phase of the road project. Addressing journalists during the inspection, Governor Okpebholo explained that the construction project spanning 26 kilometers is aimed at extending the gains of the initial phase and improving connectivity across 15 communities in Eastern, Central, and Northeast local government areas.
The first section is already done, so this is the second section. You can even see the drill. This one, from here, we are taking this one to Awo to Ohe. Now, that is where the railway station is. So we need a good road to get to the railway station. Then from there, we'll go to Rumi. All about 26 kilometers. So by the end of the day, we should be able to link up from here to the other community and the other community to another. We have almost like 15 communities around this area. So that we'll be able to open up this place.
Special Advisor to Governor Bolo on project implementation and monitoring, Engineer Phoebe Williams-Bello, said the project is designed to improve both rural access and economic activities in some agrarian communities.
Basically doing here is to connect from the city and get inter-transport that will move both for farmers and equipment going in and out. So as we can see, it's still a virgin land, and we already have a contractor that may come to scope. Other contractor may still come into scope by the time it gets to the bidding, but we'll be fast with it so that award will kick up and we'll be able to scarify and start the earthwork, and it will all go quickly before the rain sets.
The new phase of the intra-roads connection in Edo Central is expected to improve connectivity, boost rural-urban integration, ease transportation, and enhance agricultural productivity. Kingsley Uchebu, ITV News.
The member representing of your federal constituency, Right Honorable Barrister Omosede Gabriela Igbinedion, has extended warm birthday felicitations to her beloved mother, Her Excellency Lady Cherry Igbinedion, in celebration of her special day. In congratulatory message, Right Honorable Omosede Igbinedion described her mother as a woman of exceptional grace, strength, and compassion, whose life has been marked by unwavering dedication to family and service to humanity. She noted that Lady Cherry Igbinedion's enduring values, wisdom, and kindness continues to inspire not only her immediate family, but all who have had the privilege of encountering her. She expressed appreciation for her mother's constant guidance, prayers, and support, which have played a significant role in shaping her personal and public life. Right Honorable Omosede Igbinedion prayed for God's continued blessings upon her mother, asking for good health, peace, and many more years of fulfillment and joy. 2 heavy-duty trucks loaded with over 7,000 kilograms of cannabis, valued at 724 million naira, have been seized by the Edo State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Edo State Commander of the agency, Michelle Ofoyeju, who disclosed this to newsmen on Monday, said 5 suspects have been arrested in connection with the case and are currently in custody. Crime correspondent Jolade Ocho reports.
The Edo State Command of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency have intercepted 2 heavy articulated trunks laden with over 7,000 kilograms of skunk cannabis. Edo State Commander Michelle Ofoyeju said 5 suspects identified as Ibrahim Abu, Abdulaziz Abu, Jibril Jaminu, Andrew Moses, and Ganiyu Abu were intercepted with the 2 trucks along the busy Auchi Abuja Road. A thorough search conducted on the trucks led to the discovery of 483 bags of processed cannabis cleverly concealed inside cartons of beer. Preliminary investigations indicate that the illicit consignment originated from Sabongida Ora in Owan West Local Government Area and was being transported to the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
This is a product of intelligence. We actually worked on them for 72 hours. They were supposed to follow through Igara, but they diverted to Aoshi. You can imagine what this huge quantity, 7,245 kilograms, would have done. So this is a major feat for us because it's the first time in the entire country where 2 trucks laden with illicit drugs will be intercepted.
Some of the suspects revealed they were to be paid 10,000 naira per bag upon successful delivery of the cannabis.
The drivers are while they were apart from the one man come and meet me down. I want to do a load. If I will carry it, there the man and me get share contract. I will send you. My friend. Say you will send me 10,000 naira.
The owner of the truck there are where see wetin dey use the truck do.
No sir, this one is my first time.
Commander Ofoyeju stated that the development points to the involvement of a drug cartel, assuring the public that investigations will be thorough to unravel the large-scale trafficking network and bring up perpetrators to justice. From Benin, Jola Deojo, ITV News.
Including St. Emmanuel Supply, plaguing their area for over a year. Joy Obarisiaban, who visited the area, brings details.
According to residents, the situation is quite severe, with frequent power outages and prolonged darkness.
It generally don't have light. Even when they bring her, it will not even last up to about 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. They will take her. Before we see it again, maybe for days.
Etete area, a part of the government reserved area popularly called the GRA as is, historically known for reliable power supply, is now paradoxically experiencing persistent outages. Contrary to its long-standing reputation, with no light to pump water, the affected residents who rely heavily on small businesses say the situation has forced them to rely on alternative sources which are expensive.
We just dey struggle for the light. Like before, we dey get light, but since last year, complete a year plus now, we know they get light. Sometimes they just flash. I'm like today now, they just flash since morning. So ever since then, we no get water, nothing.
See me, we say they manage my small business. I know they even see light till they run my business. Everything just they frustrated.
They say they have visited the Benin Electricity Distribution Company (BEDC) multiple times, but their pleas yielded no lasting solution.
No, the light is very bad. We get very bad light, and moreover, if the light spoil, if you call NEPA before they will respond to us, it will take time.
With no light in sight, residents are counting on the government for realistic intervention.
We put you in office to help us. You did not fall from the sky. You live in Edo State here. You live in Benin here. Could you please help us? Could you do something about this?
From Benin, Joy Obaisiagbon, ITV News.
And this is we'll call it a wrap on the news updates on Independent Television. Thank you so much for watching. I am Echo Davis. Good morning.
ITV, certainly the best.
Happy birthday.
Good morning. Welcome on board. This is TMI Socials. I am Anuluwakpo Stevens. Or better still, call me a social media butterfly. Now today, we begin in Abuja, where yesterday we saw retired police officers stormed the Force headquarters in Abuja to demand payment of their pensions. Now, the retired pensioners in solidarity sang as they marched to the Force headquarters to register their displeasure over unpaid gratuities and poor pension conditions. They sang songs that depicted they were dissatisfied by the way their pension was being handled and how much was being paid to them. Anyway, let's take a look.
Pension, we no go gree. We no go gree. Pension, we no go gree. We no go gree. Pension, we no go gree. We no go gree. Pension, we no go gree. We no go gree. Yes, we no go gree. Pension, we no go gree. We no go gree. Yes, we no go gree. Pension, we no go gree. We no go gree. Oh, we no go gree. Pension, we no go gree. We no go gree. Yes, we no go gree.
Well, meanwhile, netizens took to the streets of social media this time around to talk about their reactions. And now let's see what you have been saying online with this user kickstarting doings on X. Really doings. Imagine risking your life for years only to beg for your own pension after retirement. This is heartbreaking. Another user reacting on X wrote, "Let them reap the consequences of their action or their choices. They were once very happy to oppress citizens, not knowing they were mere pawns in the actual game." Now, reacting to this still on X, Ade Nugba wrote, "Say what they reduced police officers to. It is not surprising that those in active service are milking on innocent citizens as a bailout of this quagmire. When will Nigeria actually work for Nigerians?" Well, good question. Away from that, let's come back here to Edo State, where a couple of days ago we saw a viral video where the musician Idris was questioning and actually talking about the ill part of President Bola Tinubu, and then allegedly we heard that where he actually made that statement was locked. Now, just yesterday we saw on the street of social media that Nigerian singer Idris Abdul Karim joined Edo State Governor Monday Okpebholo to inspect road and infrastructure projects, verifying developmental progress in the state. Now, this visit followed the singer's recent criticism of the federal government, with Abdul Karim commending the governor for visible work, particularly in Edo Central. Let's have a feel.
You know what I mean? So I'm here to tell everybody that truly His Excellency is working there. Work in progress. I've gone around South, I've gone around Central, and I've been able to see some of the work that His Excellency is doing. The next 1 year, 2 years, you see all the achievement. Most times, you know, when you are not on ground, you won't know exactly what is going on. So if you are from Edo State and you are in diaspora, I would advise you to travel down and come see what His Excellency is doing here. And also, at least I'm here to see it, you know.
Our own blood. So people need to know what is going on in Edo. It's not just about...
The governor is working in 18 local governments in Edo. This is Federal Road. 3 years ago, 2 years ago, there were signposts in this road say, "Bear with us, this is Federal Road." But the Federal Road has turned a thing of the past. God bless His Excellency Senator Monday Okpebholo, the most performing governor in Nigeria. Governor where they work. God bless the celebrity youth, Idris Abdul Karim, a very popular legend in Nigeria. No matter, he's strolling with the best governor in Nigeria, the Akbako Rescue. Governor, we know the race, but
Oh my God, well there you have it, the best governor in Nigeria. I'll take that to the bank. Now, how did you react to this online? Let's see what you have been saying. We'll start off with this user who wrote, from criticism to compliance in one viral cycle. Consistency and integrity clearly was never a part of his plan. Now that's Prince on X. Another user wrote, Idris is just trying to survive. Hunger is real, man. Oh, you think so? Well, finally on the story, this user says, Edo wants Part 1 water and electricity, which the governor promised during his campaign. Now, away from Edo State, let's turn our attention now to Kwara State, where residents of Woro community in Kayama local government area of Kwara State have expressed outrage after a delegation reportedly sent by the government arrived in the area with relief items such as mats, buckets, and school bags for families affected by a recent deadly terrorist attack. Let's take a look. So me trying to interpret what was said in the video, it was actually said that the community members refused the gift and demanding for security and, you know, stability in that area, and also to rescue their abducted relatives, and not the mats and the mop and buckets that was given to them. But trust netizens online to react to this. We'll start off with this user on X who wrote, seriously, Joe, who advises the leaders, people that their loved ones were abducted, and of all things in the world is the mats and buckets, this government will never cease to amaze me. Another user reacting on X wrote, well, this time around, Speller P says, mats and buckets in case they came to invade their town too, so they can see something to take and sleep on. Oh my world. Well, still reacting to this story, this user says, people are missing, families are in pain, and the response is mats and buckets. This is truly heartbreaking. Now, let's move back to Abuja. Well, this time around, the Minister of the FCT on the social media streets has dismissed allegations by the African Democratic Congress, that is the ADC. It says it was denied access to Eagle Square in Abuja. Now, Wiki has said that never happened, as you guys never even attempted or applied for the usage of that particular venue. But also on the street of social media, if we could have that picture, we saw where the application letter was being sent to the Minister of the FCT's office, but then at the end of the day, Wike denied it, and thankfully they got another place to have their convention slated for today. Let's listen to the FCT Minister.
That's why you have to look at characters, people who do only want to take public sympathy when they know that there's something like that. And you see, when you look at that behind all this, you ask yourself, are there really people who would only want to say they're talking about positive change? As I speak to you, nobody has written any letter. I don't know the very they are talking about. They have, okay, let's make a assume that they talk about Eagle Square. Nobody, not one, wrote any letter to use Eagle Square. I called the GMD of absence. There's nothing like that. There's no way we would deny them because we collect revenue from that. You have to pay. And nobody has written to us. And we are not in charge of the velodrome.
Now let's have two reactions on this trending story. Now this user on X wrote, if we could have our first tweet, a lot of person went back to Rivers State. Well, this one says, it will be politically wrong of ADC to think Wike will allow them use Eagle Square just like that. They ought to have had a plan B, unless if they are amateur in Nigeria's politics. Another user wrote on a line, even if they had written will you acknowledge it? We know clearly that you will never allow a supposed opposition to use the place. That is the kind of politics we play in Nigeria. Well, finally on TMI Socials, we move over to Ogun State, where the newly constructed road linking communities to the Gateway International Airport in Ogun State, which of course was commissioned recently. We also had our president there, former President Olusegun Obasanjo there as well, to let you know that that place has come under scrutiny after signs of erosions and flooding emerged barely a week after it's commissioned. Take a look. Now, trust netizens to take to the street of social media to call out on the governor, Dapo Abiodun, on why we have that place like that. This user realty will tell you it's natural cause, that there is nothing that can be done. Zero accountability, not tornado, not earthquake, just rainfall, and boom, billions gone. Another user online wrote, did you see any drainage around this road? Now tell me, why won't floods take over? We are not yet ready. Okay, well, on that note, we get a wrap up TMI Socials this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'll do this again tomorrow. Until then, please stay safe. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. And from all of us on This Morning on ITV, have yourself a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.